And I am super excited because we have a superstar from one of my favorite states, Utah, in the house. Heather Griffith Barber has always been involved in the family business. And when she was only 8 years old, she was on the job. Entrepreneurship was in her blood. And after graduating from the University of Utah, she co founded a company with her three brothers at the age of 23. What began as a one-man show has turned into a state-of-the-art printing company with 5 subsidiaries, 40 employees, and over 4,000 square foot campuses. She's literally the queen of wraps. And in 2023, she founded Crown Consulting Company, where she shares her knowledge through consulting and speaking. Her big audacious goals is to give 500 keynotes in her lifetime. Her book, That's a Wrap, Strategies for Anchoring and Achieving Your Goals from the Queen, is due to be published in first quarter of 2025. So stay tuned and make sure you have her LinkedIn information that we have in her QR code. She received her master's in business administration from Louisiana State University, and she's a self-proclaimed group fitness junkie. And in her spare time, you can find her at the gym. So help in welcoming Heather Griffith Barber. Thank you for
Hi.
being here. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Yes, yes.
Wow, thank you for the introduction for Heather. That's amazing. So, Heather, tell us a little bit more about your entrepreneur background and how you founded a company at 23.
Well, always had, we always had a family business. I never knew that my family had money ever. Because if I asked my dad for $1, he'd say, "When are you going to pay me back?" So we had cleaning companies, an art gallery, all sorts of different companies, and school holidays, weekends, whatever, we would be working. And so I learned, first of all, how to work, and second of all, how to run a business. And I learned that from an early age. And so, of course, when I graduate from school and I just say, I know everything, I've got an MBA, why not? This is, genius. And so I founded the company with three of my brothers, and this was in 2006. And the Great Recession happened, and we didn't even notice because we were just so focused on making this company work that by the time we came up for air, it was, 3 or 4 years later, and we were on the other side of the recession. So it was serendipitous, I guess, that we ended up founding the company, that I ended up founding the company, and that it's still going today.
So tell us a little bit about that journey as a serial entrepreneur and how you prepared for all of that. Because you mentioned the recession and all of the dips that happened. Being from Michigan, the automotive company tanked and the whole economy was, if you were in real estate, you were seeing a bloodbath and people were losing their properties, and it was not great, obviously, hence the recession. So tell us a little bit about that journey and how you prepared yourself and how it prepared you to have children.
Well, that's a loaded question, because I don't know if anything actually prepares you to have children. You think you're going to do it one way, and then all of a sudden they're like eating mac and cheese every night, and you're like, okay, whatever. This is how it is. But I I grew up never I have three brothers, and I was never treated differently. Just whatever they were doing, I was doing. So I never had that imposter syndrome or that idea that I couldn't do something. So when an opportunity presented itself, you have to keep in mind Salt Lake City in 2006. Our first company was vehicle wraps. So like wraps on like Joe's plumbing truck or things like that.
Mhm.
That was revolutionary in Salt Lake 2006. You have to like keep that in mind as I'm saying this. So there was no other company really doing it, really just pressing that market. And so we saw a hole in that market. And the thought was, why not me? Why not us? You know, what do we have to lose? There's only an upside to here. I'm 23 years old. I have, negative money to my name. I'm not married. I have no kids. Like, let's just go for it. And it's an interesting thing that happens. And I didn't even know I was living this until I saw this chart like a year ago, the Dunning-Kruger effect, where on the x-axis you have time, and on the y-axis x-axis you have confidence, and then on the y-axis you have time. So at the beginning you're super confident and you're like, this is gonna be great. And then once you understand what's actually going on, you have a huge drop off where it's like, oh crap, what have I done? And then it comes back up over time. So you learn over time, like, oh my goodness, okay, this is what we did wrong. This is what we need to do. So that confidence comes back up. And I call it competency through consistency. So it's keep going down the same path. I think that real estate is such a good example of this, that if you are jumping all around, if you are pulling your money from here, going to here, now doing this deal, now doing this deal, you're going to lose. The overall trajectory is not going to go up. This is not going to be a hockey stick going up. It's going to be a hockey stick going down. It's that consistency. It's that little by little, and it's that compound effect after time after time after time after time is when you are going to see value and when that will manifest itself. It is not going to be at the beginning, but years and years and years go by and you're going to see that consistency and you will feel more confident and get that competency through it. So that's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, okay, so I have a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old. I have a 7-year gap. My 13-year-old should just wear a little halo around. She's just this, you know, perfect little child. And I was like, I think I could do this again. I think I could go for it. But I'm going to tell you a true story, absolute true story. This is my 6-year-old. So at Easter this year, the girls went and got all of their candy. We're down in a vacation house in St. George. And I said, okay, it's 7 a.m. Let's clean up all this candy. You've had enough for right now. We're going to put it away and then we can, talk about it later. So my older one's like, okay, mom, gets all the candy. She's the kid who like still has Halloween candy and it's August. Like she's that kid. My younger one says, okay. And then I walk into the room that she's staying in the vacation house. And I can smell chocolate. And I walk in and I say, Scarlett, are you eating candy? And I kid you not, she did this. Mom, it's the darndest thing. I was walking and I tripped, and a piece of candy was unwrapped on the ground and it fell into my mouth, looked me dead in the eye, and said, I think this house is haunted. So, so helping me in parenting, I thought that I would get it over, time, but each kid is different and I'm still trying to figure out the younger one, and it's been 6 years. But it's again that competency through consistency. I have to be so consistent with my parenting, and that is something that I learned from my business.
That's great.
Oh man, that's funny. I like that. Those kids are so clever all the time. They come up with the craziest little stories. So, Heather, tell us a little bit about your book coming out on Q1 and what inspired you to write it.
So I am a female founder. I'm a Mormon female founder, and so I'm kind of a unicorn here in Utah. I'm like the poster child for young female founders. So in fact, I was just at an event and I was the diversity. There's 15 middle-aged tech bros and me on a panel. Like I was the diversity. So if that tells you anything about the landscape, and business owners in Utah. So let's just, whatever. But it's called That's a Wrap, and it's strategies for anchoring your life in personal and professional development. And it's those non-negotiables, those things that you um don't want to compromise, but a lot of times end up getting compromised. And if we have 2 seconds, I'm going to tell you a very actionable item that is from the book. So, with all my clients, my coaching clients, and business clients, and things like that, I encourage them to look at the whole year because I think as women, you hear this work-life balance constantly, right? But that doesn't mean like your day is going to be 50% work and 50% home life. That's not what that looks like. That's not even realistic on most days of the week. So I want you to think about the entire year. So if you get a calendar and you put it on your wall, and I want you to get different color little sticky notes. And each color of the sticky note represents an anchor in your life. So the anchors in my life, my number one is my faith in my relationship with God. My number two is fostering my family relationships. And my number three is taking care of myself mentally, physically, emotionally, everything like that. So I suggest you go 3 to 5 anchors. Less is more. So I have those 3 anchors, and I have 3 separate colored sticky notes, and I have a big wall calendar. And I put in the big ones first. So my faith in God. For me, what helps me with my faith is physically going to church every Sunday at 9 a.m. For me, that's what it does for me. Other people have different things, but for me. So on my wall calendar, I take out my stickies, and every single Sunday there is a sticky note on it. Now, if I'm out of town or whatever, I can go to a local congregation. It's just for me, it's that time to center myself for the week. It My life goes a lot better when I take that hour for myself, or excuse me, my hour with God. Um, so like if someone asks me to speak on a Sunday, Candace, what do I say? If they ask me to speak at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, what do I say?
I would probably say no.
That's right.
I
I
can't
say
do
no
that.
because it's
How
already
about
in the calendar.
Monday?
That's exactly how it is. Then I put in, so I'm sure like a lot of you, it's very difficult for my husband and I to get away like for a weekend or an extended period of time sans kids. So my husband and I have invested in tickets to a local theater. So, and these are not cheap tickets. These are not $20 tickets. These are really good tickets. So we know that that's an investment in our relationship. So then I put the times when my husband and I have tickets. So we have 9 set dates just for us in that calendar year. I also try to do 2 like overnight trips, weekend trips with my husband, like every 6 months or so. And it just happens to be that our anniversary and Christmas are 6 months apart. So that works for us. But I put those in next because my relationship with my husband trumps my relationship with my kids. If my husband and I don't have that solid foundation, if we are not on the same page, the whole family falls apart. Okay. So my husband and I relationship. Then we put in our time with our children. Now, this can be difficult. So, for example, I have one daughter in lacrosse right now, and that is 3 days a week for 2 hours. and then games on Saturday. Now, lacrosse season is only, in the fall. But our family is investing a lot of time in lacrosse, a lot of money, a lot of energy, going to these games, tournaments, things like that. Um, and I don't think it's appropriate in my family to have one person dominate the entire schedule. So my one daughter has lacrosse as her thing. Then my younger daughter, she's 6, so she doesn't quite have her thing yet, but she really likes gymnastics and cheerleading. So her performances I put in, we know in advance, they're like quarterly type things, and I put those in the calendar. So I want you to think like a Christmas tree. Think about if you wrap lights on a Christmas tree. If you squint, you can see where the concentrations are or where the gaps are. You want it overall to look like a cohesive design. It's the same thing with your calendar. Overall, in one year, that balance can be there. If we were to just look at the next 30 days, it would look like we're completely subservient to my 13-year-old's lacrosse coach. That's what it would look like. But if you take the entire calendar year, you see all of the things that are important to me, and then I can fill in the rest with speaking engagements, with my business meetings, with those other things that are important. But I put in the big things first, those non-negotiables first. So that's what my book is about, is anchoring yourself in those non-negotiables and how to do that.
So we know your 3 anchors, and whether, you have 3 or you have 5, help us understand how you keep choosing over and over again, like the priority, because whenever you have more than one thing, right? You still have to make choices. There's still things where a season's going to come where this is going to be heavier and a priority with your time, and time is the one thing that everybody wants from you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how do you choose, some of those things over another? What do you recommend?
So what I recommend is that hierarchy. So in my life, God being number one, Sundays are easy. That time, that's an easy one for me. Okay. So that's my number one. My family is number 2, and then my personal stuff is number 3. I'm going to give you 2 examples. So at the beginning of this summer, usually summer, we are just nonstop vacation. I mean, the kids are out of school. I I'm just one of these crazy moms that's like, let's go spend a month here. Let's do this. Like, I want my kids to have experiences rather than things. So I had the entire summer completely planned out. All the flights, all the Airbnbs, everything, the itinerary ready to go, all the stuff. On June 2nd, the second day of summer, my husband was walking our puppy. I'd like to bring up, a puppy in this situation, up on a trail near our house, and ripped his quad off of his knee.
Oh.
So in the matter of a millisecond, my entire life completely changed. I thought I was going to have this fantastic summer. We were going to go to Canada, to the beach, to Costa Rica, to everywhere. We were going everywhere. We were doing everything. It went from that to me keeping track of medication for him, to me calling the surgeon constantly, to me helping him put his underwear on. Our house has 3 floors, and unfortunately, there are no bedrooms on the main floor, and my husband couldn't go up or downstairs. So he lived in our family room for 6 weeks.
Mm.
Like right next to my kitchen, where I'm cooking, where all the kids are, where everything is going on. It's been difficult. It's been very, very difficult.
Yeah. Sounds
But
like it.
I had a choice. I could say, all right, well, good luck with that. You know, I have all this stuff planned. Good luck. Or I could look at this as, okay, this is a season. My husband, my relationship with my husband is of utmost importance to me. I need, and therefore, I believe that when you are in the service of your fellow man, you're also in the service of your God. That's what I believe personally. So if my husband needs this help, if he needs help going to the bathroom every hour, I'm there. I'm it. This is what I signed up for. This is better or worse. This is what I signed up for. So we lost all the money on the Airbnbs, tried to refund some of the airline ticket, you know, this and that and whatever. And the summer looks vastly different on paper than what I expected it to. However, my relationship with my husband is a million times stronger because I chose him consistently. Every single day, I chose to be there for him. Now, my kids started school yesterday, and I speak. That's one of the things I do, speak and coach and that type of thing. And now I'm able to do some more things in that 9 to 3, you know, time frame. Um, but it's still difficult. You know, I still have to juggle my time. My career does need to come lower on that totem pole. But like you said, there's a time and a season for everything. So I've already made those decisions before they came up.
Right.
Um, I already made the decision that my husband's companionship and his well-being is so important to me that I am not going to choose something else over that. I'm not going to choose, you know, a really awesome vacation in Newport Beach over him. So it makes it easy. It makes those choices easy.
Right. 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 So that's how I imagine you can find the joy in these situations that are struggles, you know, and so that's an awesome thing to focus on, you know, so that you can keep things in perspective. But when you and I spoke before, you had mentioned that women really need to start big instead of small. So
Yes.
tell us more a little bit about what you meant about that.